Okay, we're going to be finding double angles for tangent today. So what we're asked to find is tangent of 2 theta. They give me some information about theta to help me do that. They say cosine of theta is 5/13 and theta is between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. So this part tells me it's in quadrant 4. So in order to find what I need, I'm going to draw a picture of the angle theta. This is theta. And it is in quadrant 4. This is my reference angle here. And I know that cosine of theta is 5/13. So that would mean that the adjacent side or the x side would be 5 and the hypotenuse would be 13. And here in quadrant 4, the x's are positive and of course the hypotenuse is always positive. So I could use this to figure out the missing side, the missing y. I could use Pythagorean theorem, but hopefully at this point you recognize that this is a Pythagorean triple. So the missing side would be 12. Now here in quadrant 4, the y values are negative, so I would really need to have a negative on that. Now that I have that, I can find what I need for tangent of 2 theta. So I'm going to go ahead and write down the formula real quick. Tangent of 2 theta is 2 tangent theta over 1 minus tangent squared theta. So in order to use this formula, I need tangent of this angle theta. So I'm going to go ahead and get that from my picture over here. Tangent of theta is y over x. So in this case, that would be negative 12 over 5. So I just need to put those into my my equation, my formula over here. So in place of tangent theta, I'm going to put negative 12 over 5. And I've got pen lag going on again. Okay, so negative 12 over 5. And on the bottom, I've got 1 minus tangent squared. So that's 1 minus negative 12 over 5 squared. And so from here, I would just need to simplify this fraction. So on top, I've got negative 2 times negative 12 fifths. So I multiply that 2 times the numerator. So that would be negative 24 fifths. On the bottom, I would need to square the negative 12 fifths. So that would be negative 12 squared, which is 144, over 5 squared, which is 25. Now, before I do anything else, I need to finish simplifying the denominator there. I've got 1 minus a fraction. So in order to subtract those, I would need to think of that 1 as a number that has the same denominator. So I'm going to write that as 25 over 25. I'm just recopying the numerator, so negative 24 over 5 there. And in the bottom, now that the denominators are the same, I can subtract my numerators. So 25 minus 144 would be a negative 119. All right, now finally, I can deal with the compound fraction that I've got going on there. Now, compound fraction is really just a division problem. So I'm going to write that out for you there. Negative 24 over 5 divided by negative 119 over 25. Now, the way we deal with dividing fractions is we keep the first one the same. We change it to multiplication, and we take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Okay, I'm going to deal with the signs real quick because if I don't have to write them, I don't want to. I've got a negative times a negative, so that means when I multiply them together, my final result is going to be positive. So I'm not going to worry about the negatives anymore. Also, before I do my multiplying here, I see that this denominator and this numerator over here could be reduced. They could both be reduced by 5. So if I divide 5 by 5, I get 1. 25 by 5, I get 5. So this makes the multiplication a whole lot easier. So on the bottom, I've got 1 times 119, which is 119. On the top, I've got 24 times 5. So that's fairly simple multiplication. So that would be 120. So my final result would be 120 over 119. We're going to do one more example. If I can get this thing to cooperate with me. Here we go. Okay, so for my last example here, they tell me that tangent of x is 4/3, and they want me to find, and x is between pi and 3 pi over 2, so that means it's in quadrant 3. They didn't ask me what to find on this one, but we're doing tangent of double angles, so I'm going to say this is tangent of 2x that we're looking for. I'm going to start by writing down the formula again. So that's 2 tangent of x over 1 minus tangent squared of x. So with this, the only thing I need to know in order to use this formula is I need to know tangent of x. And that was actually my given information this time. My givens was tangent of x. So I don't even need to draw a picture. I can simply substitute in that information. So this would be 2 times 4/3 over 1 minus 4/3 squared. Okay, if you think you know how to do this, you might want to pause the video now and try paper, try the calculations, and then come back and watch the rest of the video and see how you did. If you'd like to just see it work through again, keep on letting it play there. So on top, 2 times 4/3 would be 8/3. On the bottom, I would need to square first. So 4/3 squared would give me 16/9. My next step would be to simplify the denominator further. So I've got 8/3 on top still, just recopying it so I don't lose it. In order to do that subtraction, I need to think of that one as 9 over 9. So it has the same denominator as my other fraction in the denominator. Again, just recopying the 8/3 on top there. On the bottom, I've got 9 minus 16, which is negative 7 over 9. And finally, I'm ready to deal with a compound fraction. So I've got 8/3 divided by negative 7/9. And the way we deal with dividing fractions is we keep the first one the same, multiply by the reciprocal of the second one. And then one more time, I want to reduce before I multiply. I see that this denominator and this numerator are both divisible by 3. So if I divide them by 3, I'd have a 3 there. Oops, just kidding. I'd have a 1 there and a 3 up there. And then also, once again, I want to deal with the signs. I've got a positive times a negative, so my answer this time is going to be negative. I'm going to go ahead and write that down so I don't have to think about it anymore. Of course, my pen would go crazy right then. Try that again. Okay, so I'm going to write down the negative, and now I'm just multiplying straight across the top. So 8 times 3 is 24. On the bottom, I've got 1 times 7, which is 7. So I've got negative 24 over 7. Okay, now you try the next question on the Google form and then the additional